Welcome to the Generation Why Not podcast with Ruth Klein, a 6-time best-selling author, creative brand strategist, and book coach for small businesses, entrepreneurs, authors, mompreneurs, and professionals today. She is the president of the award-winning firm Expert Celebrity Branding, and the Wall Street Journal calls her the marketing maven. This podcast will be interviewing this generation, those who are doing things differently because of their perceptual shift of what success looks like, and who are driven by attitude, not age. They know anything is possible, and you'll hear how this generation feels the fear and keeps going anyway to achieve their goals and dreams, whether they be in business, sports, the arts, or lifestyle.
Welcome to Generation Why Not. I'm your host, Ruth Klein. Generation Why Not basically embraces and engages with leaders and high performers by looking at how each generation has similarities instead of differences. This generation is always open to possibilities, and they don't believe that there's such a thing as failure. They believe that if they don't hit one of their goals, that's just feedback. I love sharing some incredible Generation Why Notters to our show to share with you how they think, how their internal values bring them to where they are today. They're not driven by age. They're driven by attitude. And today we have a beautiful, beautiful woman who I met years ago and just loved from the start. And her name is Lumari. And Lumari is a very, very gifted, internationally acclaimed intuitive coach. She's the real deal, people. She is the creative analyst and vibrational energy master who has basically shown thousands of people all over the world how to awaken and live their soul callings and create and activate their bigger vision. I love that. She certainly walks her walk and talks her talk. She's an award-winning and best-selling author of numerous breakthrough spiritual, metaphysical books. In fact, we're going to hear from Lumari on her new book called Streams of Consciousness. And Lumari is basically a guide, some call her a catalyst, some an inspiration for personal and planetary change, evolution, and awakening. I love that. And planetary change. Love that. So, I'll tell you, if you're ready to celebrate your life and live your dreams, let's welcome Lumari. Lumari, welcome.
Oh, thank you, Ruth. It is such a joy and an honor to be here with you. And why not?
Really? Why not? I love that. So, Lumari, tell us a little bit about who you are and how you got to be this inspiration guide catalyst for personal and planetary change.
Oh, thank you. Well, I have always had a divine connection, and I have always heard messages and seen things and felt things and had guidance. That's just been part of who I was. Of course, when I was really young, I didn't know that was unusual. I thought everybody had that. And later on in life, when I was in college, that's when I finally realized it took me that long. Right? But that's when I finally realized, oh, wait, they don't see that. Oh, they don't hear that. I thought you were just ignoring it because you were stubborn. You know?
Oh, wow.
And so when I would look at like kids and they would do stuff and I'd go, you know, your mother's going to catch you, right? And they'd look at me and go, no, she's not. I'm like, yes, she is. Wow. Because I could see that it was going to happen. But I just figured they were being stubborn. And that was fine with me. I mean, no big deal. We were all stubborn in some way. My first career was as an artist. And so all of this information that was coming to me, I thought it was because I was an artist. You know, those creative voices, poetry, and when I would ask an internal question, right?
Yeah.
I would be in a conversation with 5 different beings, but I didn't know they were beings. I thought it was 5 different parts of my own brain talking to me.
Interesting. Lumari, I have to ask you before you continue. You said something very interesting that is rare. So many people I've worked with who are super creative and have had a spiritual connection at birth, basically, they would see things and hear things and it freaked them out. And they didn't want to, they actually got scared of it. And they thought they were different. They thought they were different in a bad way. And it's interesting. I love that you saw yourself as not different, thinking everyone was like this.
Yes. And it's really funny. I know I'm a positive person, right? I have that. But that's even from when I was younger. When people called me weird when I was young, I thought it was a compliment. I actually did, right? I thought, oh my goodness, that, I'm different, I'm unique, I'm a little strange. And they noticed that. I'm 7, right? And so instead of thinking that was an againstness, I just interpreted it just because of my positivity. I interpreted it as a compliment. And I didn't know that these gifts were different. I used to go to the library, my local library, and way upstairs in the attic was where all the metaphysical books were. And I used to take them home and read them and I wish I could be like that. I had no idea I already was. Because the way they described it seemed different than how I was perceiving it. And it wasn't until I was in college and started talking with people about like what I saw and how I interpreted the messages and everything else. When artists think you're weird, there's something wrong there. Like, oh my God, I'm with artists and I'm thinking they're going to totally get what I'm talking about, right? And they're looking at me going, really? Okay, you just told me you had a conversation with Degas because you wanted to know about his brush strokes. Are you kidding me? I'm like, no. He's really fun and very creative.
What did you do with your artwork and being an artist? Where did you go from there, and how did you end up to where you are now as the intuitive?
Well, I actually had a really great self-supporting art business. I was a sculptor, and I did installation pieces and avant-garde pieces and got grants and sold my pieces to corporations and investors. Then life happened. And my husband, Peter, and I were driving to drop off some really nice sculptures to my agent who was selling them to this really big collector. Mm-hmm. And as we were driving on the highway, we got hit by a Mack truck.
Literally.
Wow. Hit by a Mack truck. And that moment absolutely changed my life. Because I could not I knew as soon as we were done with the accident, shot up in the air, we were hit by a truck that was carrying bridge parts. So it was like more than 18 feet long. And it was like, oh, right. Yep. Can't move my arm. Interesting. And so it was like, after that accident, it took 18 months before I could actually sit in a restaurant and finish a meal.
Because your arm hurt?
No, because my whole body was whacked.
Wow.
It really was wow. It was like, okay, my whole life has completely changed now. Now I can no longer, and I knew it, I didn't like it, but I knew I wasn't going to be able to do the sculpture because I was working with heavy pieces and doing installation pieces. So I would have a sculpture and it would have 25 different parts that I would assemble in a park that people could walk around, and large wall units or pieces in a museum that dangled from the ceiling, and you would walk through it and get an experiential understanding of what this art was. And I'm looking at it going, it took me 7 months of physical therapy to hold a glass in my hand. Yeah, I'm not going to be able to do my artwork.
Wow. I never knew that, Lumari. I never knew that.
I have never told the story. I just decided this year, using your phrase, why not?
Isn't that interesting? What was a pivotal moment where you came to the realization that you were going to share that story and be vulnerable? It's really vulnerable. Share that story. Why not?
Peter and I were having this conversation, and I had made a very specific decision not to have conversations about it at all because I didn't like how people looked at me. All my friends knew. Like, you could see it on their face. You ain't going to do it anymore. Your life is trash. Peter dried my hair with a hairdryer because I couldn't hold it in my hand for 3 years. I was in physical therapy and acupuncture and everything else 4 days a week for that long. And that's after the hospital stuff, right? This is like trying to get back. Wow. And we were just talking about it, and he looked at me and goes, you don't understand that it's a powerful story, not a weak story.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, Peter, so.
Yay, Peter. Oh,
and I'm like, okay, you know what? It doesn't matter to me anymore about it because I have completely changed my life, and my intuitive gifts and everything else were what got me through everything in a very, very strange, bizarre way. Because we had been part of a group in Boston, which is where I was from, and I was coaching really well-known people in the group. It was just group coaching. We were all coaching each other on things and stuff. And my intuition would kick in, and people would ask me a question, and I would give them the answer, and then their business would change. And me, it was just coming through. I wasn't thinking anything about it. I was just having a good time. One of the people that I was helping was a CEO of a health company, and she was getting a corporate takeover. Now, I had gone out with her before and her other, high corporate people, right? I'm the artist or recovering artist, right? But at that point, I was an artist, and they were doing business at the table, and they were doing math, and they were talking about a project. And they just looked and said, well, how much would that projected into the future, right? Like, this is not where my brain goes. How much do you think that would be? And I got the message in my head, and I was like, approximately 10,572. And they looked at me and went, what? And then they all pulled out their calculators and did the math, and I was right.
That's incredible. That's incredible, Lumari.
That same woman, when I was in the hospital from the accident, called me up to help her because there was a corporate takeover. And here I am, like, seriously, it is the whole conversation of why not. Here I am, and in the hospital, can't hold the phone in my hand, so I have it propped up with pillows while I'm talking with her, coaching her on how to be in the boardroom because of each different person. And by the time I was out of the hospital, I think I was there a month. By the time I was out of the hospital, she averted the corporate takeover. And she said, you have a new job. You just don't know it yet.
Amazing. Oh, I just got goosebumps. Wow. And that's when you realized that you could transition another talent of yours into a very lucrative business and create the life that you always wanted.
Yeah, and it has continued to evolve, and I have learned more and more about my gifts because I always use them. But what's important for all of us to know is to be able to really distinguish your gifts.
Mm-hmm.
Not to take them for granted. I mean, for me, yes, I was unaware. But once I started noticing what it was like, oh, how do you put this into practice?
Yes. And it's interesting. You mentioned something that I really want to highlight, Lumari, because it's really important. Use your gifts, but here's the deal. You weren't aware of it. Usually, we're not aware of our gifts that we could literally transition or leverage that into a lucrative business career.
Yeah.
Because it comes easily to us. Somehow we didn't get the memo that when we're in alignment with our talents and skills and what makes us happy, we do the best work, and that is our passion and our purpose.
Yes. And I like to say you have more than one gift. So when people are looking at their purpose, it seems to me they're trying to pick one thing. That's not really a truth. We have multiple gifts. So if you're looking at, because you and I do coaching, and we come from different places in it, but we still do that.
Right.
Well, guess what? If you're not a good listener, you can't be a good coach.
Right.
Now, somebody's not going to think listening is a gift. It is.
Yeah.
Because it's active listening.
Yeah.
You're not just going, yeah, blah, 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 get to the point. Where's the punchline? You're listening to not only what a person is saying, what they're feeling, what the openness is, where the shifts can occur, where is their creativity flowing, all of those different things. And that's just listening.
It is. And I love that, because I find that when I find someone that will listen and not interrupt or tell me their story at certain times, then I listen to myself as I'm talking, and I usually can figure it out, or I have a pivotal insight. But the moment they interrupt me, I lose it.
Well, and that's part of a vibrational flow.
Yes.
So a lot of people aren't aware of the vibrational flows that are occurring, and we can call them different things. One of my favorite ones is inspiration. And it comes through in many different ways, because look at all the people in the world who have been inspired. Follow their inspiration and look what's been created.
Exactly. Which takes me to your newest book that will be out very, very shortly, called Streams of Consciousness. Can you share some of the highlights, maybe 3 highlights?
I would love to. Streams of consciousness, what they are vibrational energies that have been always active on our planet, but we didn't know about them. They're healing, they're uplifting, they're transformational, all of that stuff in each different stream that has its own focus and quality. And they were created to help us humans connect with the divine without being overloaded and spacing out. Because the divine is so huge that if you really connect with it, you're going to forget that you haven't eaten in 5 days, because you're in the delight of the divine. and we chose to be here, so they created these streams so we could still have that connection and still be our human selves, continuing to evolve and grow. And so I became aware of these streams a while back, and I wrote the book over 10 years ago. And I was told finally, okay, now you can bring it out, because now people can appreciate that they're inspired by a different stream. And if they understand the other streams, they will understand all of humanity. And it won't be polarized. It won't be like you're different than I am. It's like, oh, I am inspired by this. Now I can see why you don't know what I'm talking about, because you're inspired by that. It's a completely different way of looking at the world. Not wrong, just different.
And how many streams of consciousness are there?
Well, there are 12 different streams. There is the stream of purity, the stream of honor, the stream of compassion, the stream of neutrality, the stream of harmony, the stream of beauty and grace, the stream of wisdom, the stream of truth, the stream of radiance, the stream of reciprocity, the stream of universality, and the stream of unity. And as I say it, each one has a slightly different energy. You can feel that the stream of compassion has an overriding connection and emotional integrity to it, where the stream of truth has more clarity and perspective.
Interesting. It's just fascinating. Oh my gosh.
Thank you.
I can't wait for this book to come out. I just can't wait.
Well, and it's such a beautiful gift to be able to, like, if we could all look at each other, ourselves first, naturally, knowing what stream we resonate to, what it will finally click in why you think the way you think, why you perceive the way you perceive, but then looking at the other people in our lives and looking at the communities and go, oh, they are aligned with this energy. Well, to me, they might feel aloof, but actually, if I look at it like they're neutral, then they're not in judgment. They're in perception.
Yes.
And that would give us ways of looking at our world that would be healing and uplifting.
And here's the deal. We are ready for that. This was 10 years ago, even though what I call it, it was divinely downloaded for you, was too early. Now's the time. Now is the time. Lumari, what is one more gift that you'd like to share? Because this has all been such a gift. Thank you. What's one more gift that you'd like to share with our listeners?
Well, I would say that when you connect with what inspires you without judgment, then that is the message to follow. Follow your inspiration, because your inspiration will bring you joy, will bring you fulfillment, will bring you passion, because inspiration is the divine singing a sweet song to you and saying, now look at this, how do you feel? And when you're inspired, you light up, you have new perceptions, and not only is that important for you, but it is the gift you're given to share.
I love it. It gave me goosebumps again.
Oh, I love that.
It is the divine sweet song. Oh, I love that. I love that. All right, my dear. Thank you so much, Lumari. You can connect with Lumari at LUM as in mom, ARI.com, Lumari.com. And her new book is called Streams of Consciousness. Thank you so much, Lumari, for sharing your gifts with us today.
Thank you, Ruth. An honor, a joy, and I really appreciate being able to share. So thank you. Thank you.
You're so welcome. Let's kind of look now at what Lumari shared. I want to hit a couple of highlights here, because it was just absolutely, so many things were profound, really. First of all, this whole idea of not beating yourself down, not giving up in the worst case scenario where you might think that your whole career is gone and your purpose and your passion and your inspiration is gone. And in Lumari's case, even though she was doing incredible sculptures, I mean, it sounds just incredible. And then to go through that accident and to have to live through getting well again and how it affected her. And she knew that it wasn't going to be the same in terms of her career. And even in the hospital, it was like, why not? Why not change gears here, work with one of my other talents? I can't hold the phone, but that doesn't stop me, because, Generation Why Notters are just simply not stopped. They find a way. And as did Lumari in the hospital, and started a very successful intuitive coaching career and a lot of books. I don't know how many books this is for Lumari, but this is not her first book, Stream of Consciousness. She's been very, very successful author, and a best-selling one at that. Here's, this comment also about you have to be a good listener. And Lumari had said you have to be a good listener to be a good coach. I'm going to go so far as to say you have to be a good listener to be good at anything, whether it's an attorney or a financial advisor or a parent or whatever it might be. Listening truly is a gift for those that spend time in learning about it, becoming aware of it, and implementing it. These 12 different streams of consciousness, they're really, to me, when Lumari was calling them off, they're really what's going to bring our world together again. It's really at a level of consciousness and intention, thoughts, and beliefs. It's these 12 streams. I mean, listen to these names: honor, harmony, beauty, neutrality, truth, wisdom. I mean, on and on. this is what's needed for today in a very, very big way. And so I am so grateful that Lumari was able to share some of these incredibly, truly spiritual pearls of wisdom with us. So please feel free to check out Lumari.com, her new book, Streams of Consciousness. I'm Ruth Klein. Thank you for joining us on Generation Why Not. Until next time, be well, be safe.
Thank you for joining Generation Why Not. We look forward to receiving any questions you may have, as Ruth will be answering them on this podcast. Follow Ruth.Klein on Instagram or email rklein@ruthklein.com. Until next time, a short reminder that success is driven by attitude, not age.